Media. Fueled by C4, Cellucor, and Extend. Use the code Clydesdale to get 20% off at checkout at c4energy.com. The 2023 season series with some amazing athletes. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notifier so you're first to know when new episodes are available. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Clydesdale Media Podcast. My name is Scott Schweitzer. I am the Clydesdale. We are here to celebrate all of the semifinalists from the 2023 CrossFit Games season. And with us today is Mitch McClune. Mitch, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me again. Pleasure to be back on.
Yeah. You were our analyst at the games last year.
I don't know how much analyzing I did, but yeah, it was fun talking with you guys.
Yeah. We always love having you on. So I'm going to open this with the tough question, and then we'll get into the easy stuff after.
All right.
And so I'm going to share a screen real quick. You made a post on Instagram. And I think you probably know which one I'm going to pull up.
That's like the most engagement I've ever got on a post.
And your quote was, "Thank you to the team that told me I wasn't good enough."
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you is, and I'm not here for the drama. You know me. What kind of motivation do you get fired up and do you get motivated when people tell you no or that you can't?
I mean, I think everybody does. I think it's probably just the competitor in me. Honestly, like with that post, obviously people can read into it like however you want. It really wasn't calling anybody out. You know, things happen. This is sports. This is athletics. Sometimes you're on the team. Sometimes you don't make the team. Whatever happens. Unfortunately, I had plans where I was going to go on a team and it didn't work out. As much as that's frustrating for me, I completely understand like both sides of the coin and where everybody was coming from. It just made more sense logistically from their side going with somebody in-house, which I like 100% can't blame them for. But unfortunately, that puts me as the odd man out, which sucks. It's never fun to be in that position. And then for me, like it's always just a little bit of bulletin board material, a little bit of internal like firing up. I don't know if anybody's familiar with The Last Dance or that whole documentary on the Bulls and everything, and just kind of what Jordan would do with taking things that happen and just internalizing them. And honestly, that's kind of what I've been using it as, and it's great training fuel. Like I said, it's kind of adds that little extra fire, especially during that low point after I found out that I wasn't going to be on the team. So that was a little bit more fire for me. But like I said, yeah, there's no hard feelings there between anybody. I understand all the avenues that decision was made. And I mean, I'm pulling for everybody on the team. I just wish that I would be there with them. I'll be on the individual side, but it'll be fun either way. I get to compete. So that's what I'm most fired up about. I'm excited to get out there, and that's just what I like to do, you know?
So I think what took me aback is if people know you, like, in the times we've met, like, I don't know you intimately, that's for sure. But like we've hung out at Wodapalooza and I saw you at the Mac last year or I don't even, was it Mac or Syndicate? I can't even remember. They merged together in my head now.
Yeah.
Like, you're the most easygoing guy in the world. And then you're flipping through Instagram and now Mitch is like, damn. I'm like, oh, someone pissed him off and he's ready to go.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's easygoing to a point, but yeah, like some things in life, whatever it is, like, yeah, it'll get to you a little bit, you know? It's like I said, there's no animosity there, but still for me, it's like, okay, like, hey, you weren't selected, you weren't good enough. And I know that's not the actual reason, but for me, maybe when I'm pushing in the garage and I'm training, I'm getting after it on the rower, maybe that's what I start whispering to myself a little bit. And that helps me get through some intervals or push a little bit harder, like whatever you need to do. Yeah, it's just the way things go.
So what I loved is you said the most engaged post you've ever made. And it's
Well,
probably
second.
because okay.
Yeah.
You're the biggest solo post you've made?
Yes. Yeah. The
Okay.
most engagement I've got on a solo post that hasn't been a collaboration.
Yeah. So all of the Underdogs crew are like the first comments underneath, like, let's go. We're all underdogs. Boom. Like they all jumped in your corner, like boom, boom, boom. How does that make you feel?
Oh, great. I mean, I love all the like it's funny because I don't get to train with them as much, just working the full-time job and everything like that. Most of what you guys see and anybody that follows me on Instagram, it's always just stories in my garage, usually alone, unless it's the weekend and I can get to the gym. And then I get to see everybody for a little bit. But knowing you have that team in your corner is always great. And like the Underdogs, I couldn't ask for a better group and a better family to be a part of. And it's so awesome with Justin and Kiefer and Kyra and Allie and Alex and Raph and all those folks. Kari, obviously, she's the original. But yeah, everybody here, it's just awesome.
So you bring up Kari. You're an acquaintance of hers, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, Kari Pearce. Do you guys ever work out together? Or is it just not a fair match?
Together or like head to head, like, hey, we're doing the same workout.
Same workout.
So we had a couple times, like this is back when she was still competing. And I think it was like training for the 2021 games, where I would come up and visit quite a bit and we'd get after it. And basically I would just jump into whatever training her and Bethany were doing. And I would just get absolutely destroyed, which was great. Now that she's retired and stepped away from the competition side, she's definitely been doing a lot to kind of relax, get away from the competition kind of training aspect. It's a lot more working out for fun, stay fit, stay active. She'll be in the garage with me once or twice a week and just yelling at me while I'm doing my workouts or intervals. But the times now that we're doing the same thing is like hardly ever. So yeah, I don't have to deal with her destroying me anymore too much.
So you say walking away and kind of not competing anymore. These eyes saw her at Wodapalooza.
That's like, retired.
That switch is still there.
Oh yeah. It's really, and I loved getting to watch her compete too, but I also really love getting to see her on the other side of it and what she's doing now with everything off of the competition floor. But for me, selfishly too, like it was really cool to see her get back out there again and strap them up. And it's so funny. She's like, oh man, like I'm not in shape. I'm all this. And like, I cannot be more clear on this, but you're still in pretty good shape here. So it's like, yeah, it's pretty funny.
So for if the audience doesn't know, she competed with Alex Kazan and Ariel Lowen at Wodapalooza. They podiumed. Did you ever hear the Ariel Lowen story on that?
No. What? Well, maybe I have, but what?
So she went to hang the medal in her garage. Did you hear?
No.
And Dylan was hanging her sign and I think it was a sign and her medal up in the garage gym, and he hit a water line. Pounded in the nail, and all of a sudden,
oh no. He's like the architect, the carpenter guy too. That's a rookie mistake. You gotta check.
He built the garage. He should know where the water lines are.
That's too funny.
Yeah. I also said, we got to interview Kari that weekend, and it was the most laid back I have ever seen her. We've had her on the show a couple times. That was the most laid back I've ever seen her, and she looked so happy.
Yeah, there's definitely like the stress levels and everything. It's like people don't realize it's easy to see like the competitions, especially on the high level, the folks at the games and the folks that are top 10, and you just see them year after year crush it and get after it and just show up, and you're like, yeah, that okay. You just kind of write it off, and you don't kind of do the math and realize the work that goes in behind the scenes and how many hours and all the dedication that it takes, and the like mental toll specifically too that it is, and just not having to worry about that anymore is like definitely a big exhale for sure.
So back to you a little bit more. You work full time. You're a semifinals athlete. You don't have the time to put in a training day like we would think a typical elite athlete because of that full-time job.
Yeah, I get it in where I can, but yeah, there's definitely training is a focus. It's not the sole focus. Like, I'm out here mostly competing and getting after it just because I love to do it. Like, I don't have like that pie in the sky dream really anymore of like, I'm 33, I'm probably not going to go to the CrossFit Games and place top 10 or even make it to the CrossFit Games as an individual. But it's something I really enjoy doing, and I really like being able to kind of have that focus and train for something. But also on the other side of it, like, that's not paying the bills. I don't have sponsorships. I don't have people giving me money to do this. So it's more about finding the time to get it in when I can and still maintaining like the full-time job, the Air Force Reserves work, all that other stuff, and just making it work.
So what I love about this season is semifinals have 60 athletes in them this year. Probably that is the biggest field I've ever seen at a major event.
Yeah.
Right. Someone like you who is good at something, like really good at some things, can really mess up the works.
That's the plan. I would hope to. Maybe one or two like grenades in there. Just a few events that are kind of right down the wheelhouse that I could kind of make a splash. I know realistically where my fitness level's at and where I qualified, probably somewhere in the 20s to 30s range. Like, that's a pretty realistic expectation. But if the right workout comes out and just the kind of movements or everything stars align, I think I can make a push for top 15, top 10 on some things, which could really make it unfortunate for other people's weekends if it came into it, which yeah, that's why you're there, right? You want to compete, you want to do the best you can in every event, and yeah, leave your mark if you can.
Yeah, you think about, I think it was 2014 when Sam Briggs messed up one event at regionals.
Yeah.
In a 40-person field, and what that did to her. Now you add 20 more places on. If you mess up an event, like, your chances of game shot could be completely over.
Oh yeah, it can go south really fast, especially with 60 people. There's that many more scores on there that you have to worry about. And instead of being able to, oh, you take a hit, you finish 20th in a 30-person field, that's a really rough finish for somebody that's aspiring to be like top 5. But if that 20 place finish in that 30-person field turns into a 40th, then you could probably sign yourself out for the rest of the weekend, unless you're taking home all first places. But yeah, it definitely makes it a little bit more interesting. There's a lot more pressure, and I think less room for error at the top, especially if you can't have that event where you can't even think about finishing in the bottom half of that field and hope to make that up. There's just too many things.
Yeah, thinking back to last year, you have someone like Chloe Wilson, who didn't finish lower than 8th in any event and didn't make it to the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
She's the type of athlete that in this new system,
great,
you would think would flourish, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So I think it's gonna turn the tables a little bit more than people think. And I think that you're going to see some surprise people in that top 10.
I think bringing it out, especially to 10, like, so from 5, like, you can look at a roster and pretty much pinpoint who the 5 is now, especially with this level of like maturity in the sport. We're 15 or so years into it, and you can look and say, okay, this person's been to the games, this person, this person, this person, minus like, obviously if somebody has a terrible weekend, they're super sick, something like that is going to throw a monkey wrench into it. But you can clearly identify those folks. And now going out to 10, you're like, okay, because there's always one or two people in the top 10. You look at a 30-person field from like the last 21, 22 semifinals. You're like, oh, I'd never even heard of that person before. And now it's that person, instead of being in the top 10, having like a cool check mark on their resume, is now going to the CrossFit Games if they're that this weekend.
So what is your goal for the weekend?
Oof. Do you want like I want to finish top 10 in every event, or I
want your realistic, like you've always been real about where you are.
Realistically for me, and if we're talking numbers wise and finish wise, I think 20 to 30 would be a great weekend for me. Especially leading up to it. I've had a little bit of injuries that I've just been working through. So hopefully just with the way things come out, and if I can make it through the weekend healthy and get after it to how I know I can, especially with these workouts that have come out, I think that finish zone is probably a good goal realistically for me. Other than that, for the weekend is just getting after it and competing, leaving it all out on the field. Like you don't want to ever walk off the competition floor and be like, oh damn, I could have done this. I would much rather like sell out and have something happen than to be like, oh, I wish I had pushed a little bit harder. Other than that, just getting after it and have some fun. I think anybody that saw me at MAC last year would definitely say that I enjoy myself out on the floor between the events where I'm not actually dying out there. But I definitely have a good time. So
Jody Lynn said goal is Madison.
I'll be going there regardless, whether or not it's on one side of the competition gates or in the spectator area is to be determined.
So I'm going to share this picture because it was one of my favorite moments from the MAC last year. And that is this moment. I know there's what you have one where there's another frame like right after this,
where it shows the I have
your excitement after.
I think I posted it like right after.
There it is.
Yeah, that one.
There's the one. Yeah, you definitely have a good time on the floor.
Yeah, I get excited, especially Olympic lifting for me. That's kind of where I started Olympic lifting at the same time I started CrossFit, but for me, just being able to move a barbell and stuff like that, there's something really satisfying about it. I just get excited. So, I mean, it's anytime you hit a PR or something, you get fired up. So I would be yelling and doing all that stuff if I was in the garage alone. And the fact that I was out there and some people were watching just made it a little bit sweeter. So it was good. It was a good start to the weekend.
Yeah. Go ahead and let there it is. There it is. What I love about it is the quarter turn on your cleans.
Yeah, I don't know where that comes from. I think I probably need to address some hip mobility issues there and see what I'm doing. But yeah, every round I was just, maybe I knew the camera was there and I wanted the head-on shot. That was probably it.
Yeah, because you had to be right to get for the point, right?
Yeah. Just looking right down the line at him. So that was good. I think at that point,
we got to get the point one more time.
There it is. I was just trying not to pass out, and I was just excited that I didn't dump it on the floor.
True that. So, I had Bethany on last night, and so I've got to ask a question because you saw more than most, and I feel like the CrossFit world was cheated in 2021.
Yeah.
There was this moment. West Coast showed that Kari and Bethany were coming to take no prisoners.
there's no doubt in my mind that both of them would have been easily within the top five, and it probably honestly would have came down to both of them getting after it for one of the spots in the podium for sure. And it's unfortunate. Sometimes you get sick, things happen. I know people have said like, oh, like they should have. Everybody with COVID has their own opinions. It's a real hot button, but like, oh, they should have let them compete. Like, do whatever. And like, I can tell you for a fact that neither Kari nor Bethany was getting out of bed for those 4 days. Like, it sucked, and it definitely wasn't like, oh, they're asymptomatic, this just stinks because I'm healthy and I'm here and I'm ready to go. It was, well, they're pretty worse for wear at this point. So yeah, it was very unfortunate, but yeah.
But what did that friendship, because I think it was more than just training partners. Like they became such good friends,
Oh,
and
definitely.
they helped each other so much that they both got so much better. And that's saying a lot, because as I told Bethany last night, every time she made the game, she finished top 20. Right? Kari, the greatest female American CrossFitter we've ever seen. So it's not like they were starting at a low point. Like, they were already upper echelon, and they got even better.
Yeah, it was silly watching them, just getting to experience that, especially coming up in the summer of 21 and like visiting and getting to train with them, but seeing how fit both of them were, like, it was absurd. And yeah, it's definitely like a what if situation of if they both got to compete at the games that year. But there was something to be said about the relationship they had, and just how they were able to push each other, and the bond they formed, like in the gym and then outside of the gym, and it's awesome. Yeah, Bethany, we still chat with her now and then occasionally. My new Air Force, so I got transferred to a different unit in the reserves. So my next assignment is going to be out in LA. So we're hoping to make a few trips out there and get to visit her and Randy at some point and say hello. So that'll be good.
Yeah. Bethany talked very irreverently about Kari, and what she meant to her during that time.
Yeah.
And that when Kari left, Underdogs wasn't the same anymore.
Yes, it was definitely palpable for sure. She brings a certain energy wherever she goes. I'm sure everybody that's ever come across her or interacted with her can attest to that.
Yeah. And we had Alex on too, and Alex talks about her in that way as well. She's definitely left her mark. And what's funny is, like, for so many years, she was in New York, kind of training alone. And then all of a sudden, in this very short window in Vegas, she impacts so many lives.
Yeah, it's really like seeing the days. So like, she comes in less than I go in. So I'll go in pretty much every weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And Kari will frequent the gym maybe like once or twice a month now, just depending on what she's feeling, if she wants to go with me. And you can see the mood and just the atmosphere change when she walks in, and the training that day. It's like, yeah, just the energy levels are raised and everything like that. It's pretty special to see.
So now I want to talk about you guys as a couple. You recently got engaged, right?
November.
And you go on these adventures. You go on these adventures. And were you always a hiker?
To a degree. I don't think I was as aggressively a hiker as I am now. But yeah, there was one hike. So this trip, we went, and this was the first week of the Open. So I went and did it down in San Diego. And then we had this trip planned out really before the Open shook out and the dates lined up and everything. So we knew we were going to Yosemite on this weekend, this month. And then they announced everything. I'm like, oh, well, we'll still make it work either way. So we left from San Diego Friday after the Open announcement and the workout, drove 7 hours north through like LA and all of California, which was an adventure, got up to Yosemite, And we found out that week, actually, that to get into Yosemite National Park, you needed a reservation because there's only like 4 times a year you need a reservation to get into this place. But apparently, this was one of the 4 times because it was what they call the fire waterfall or something like that. So like everybody and their mother goes into the park to see this waterfall. And so we couldn't actually go into Yosemite, so we went into the 2 other ones up there I'm spacing on the Kings Canyon and then Sequoia National Forest. Yep. So we couldn't go into Yosemite, but we were still staying up there. So Kings Canyon and Sequoia are up there as well. So we went into those, kind of went and enjoyed ourselves. That trail, so yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. This trail was terrifying. It looks so easy, but if from there, that point, it's just switchbacks back and forth, and you're climbing on the side of a mountain going up to see this waterfall, and it's like a 200-foot drop down. It was very unsettling, but yeah, it was a cool picture of the waterfall at the end. Yeah, that.
Wow.
We did not
Are you
realize it was that.
are you a heights guy?
What's that?
Do you like heights?
I'm kind of indifferent towards them. I think anybody, when they get themselves on a ledge with a 200-foot drop and like some shaky gravel beneath their feet, probably reconsiders their choices at that point. But I wasn't like pinned to the wall or anything like that. But definitely my care with each step was greatly increased on that hike, for sure.
I'm assuming that the camera is not really doing it justice.
Not at all. Yeah, that's where you can't, and it was really frustrating filming it because you're like, you can't adequately see or like feel what this is like. And yeah, it was definitely unpleasant, but it was good. It was worth it. It was a great hike for sure.
So how often do you guys go on your adventures?
We try to go once or twice a month. It really just depends. Like, this has been so crazy now with the quarterfinals and everything. But we went to fire I don't know. I forgot the park in it's a little bit north of Las Vegas. Valley of Fire? Yes. Yeah, we went to Valley of Fire a few weeks ago, which was really cool. I think the next ones we have planned, we're either looking at Arcadia National Park in Washington or Olympic or both, somewhere up there. And the Grand Canyon has been on our bucket list for a minute, so we have to make it down there at some point. So yeah, we've got a few.
Jeffrey Birchfield says Elephant Butt is a great hike in Yellowstone.
Okay. Yeah, Yellowstone's.
Now you're getting suggestions.
Yeah, we'll taking all notes here. I'll compile a list.
So, did you compete at Wodapalooza this year?
Yeah, it was me, Raph, and Ethan Helbig. We had a team.
Okay, so and it's this ragtag crew here on your Instagram.
Yes, I think I know the picture. Yep. Yeah, that's us. Raph actually had the flu the entire weekend. I actually thought he was going to die during some of the events. And
oh my gosh,
he looks a lot better in that picture than I do in the next one. But yeah, he had a rough weekend for sure. Yeah, that was taken immediately after. So I was the last. The way that workout went, it was like the 2K run for time, and then basically a relay of that D-ball and swim workout. And I was the last guy to go. And I think we finished second in our heat in that one. But I think I passed like 3 or 4 guys in the water on that. I have a bit of a swimming background, so that was a strength for me. So they put me last and kind of let me get after it. And I went full dummy mode in the middle of the Miami Bay, and then got back, finished my squats, and basically like couldn't get off the ground for another 5 minutes. But it was fun. It was worth it for sure.
Okay. So Jeffrey saying, Scott, I'm cracking up. That's not how you pronounce, but it must be Butte.
I wasn't going to check you on your own podcast. I was just going to let it go. But if Jeffrey's calling out, then yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the fancy way of saying
it. Is Butte?
Yeah.
Elephant Butte.
There you go.
That sounds Canadian, but okay. It's a Butte.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't mind being wrong. Helps the ratings.
Tomato, right?
Right. So you're in Miami. Did you and Kari explore the fajita scene?
We did. Actually, we didn't actually get fajitas though. It was, I forget the name of the restaurant we went to, but it was like a little hole in the wall Mexican food restaurant, obviously. And we went after the final podium ceremony and everything, which was like, I think we got there like 9 or 10 o'clock at night at this point. And there's only outsides. The restaurant we went to was only seating outside. So it was very cold. We had our jackets on and everything, but it was 100% worth it. I think I had a full burrito and then another meal and then some chips and guac on top of that. So I was ready to rock. It was great. Not the fajitas we wanted, but we're good with either way. I think Kari had like a burrito bowl or a taco salad or something like that, but it was great.
Yeah, my guy swam hard. He needed two Mexican meals.
Yeah. We do have to do the Googling to research where we're going after semis though, and see what's good in Pasadena.
Yeah, that's going to be my first time in California.
Really?
Yeah. I've been to Washington. I've been to Arizona. I just have never made it into the state of California.
There you go. It's nice out there, especially Pasadena, that area. It'd be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. One, I know so many of the athletes now. Like, it's just fun to go see everybody. And then two, it's going to be cool to go to California for the first time.
For sure.
And some of the people in the chat that over the last couple of years, they're from there. So I'm going to get to see them in person for the first time.
Yeah. That'll be cool.
Yeah. So it's going to be super stoked. I think I told you at Wodapalooza, was it? No, it was right after Wodapalooza. I went to Delaware for the Green Beret project.
Yeah.
And I had the best fajitas I've ever had there.
I don't know when we're going to be anywhere near Delaware, but I'm definitely keeping that bookmarked for sure. That's
it was so crazy good.
Yeah.
It was in Wilmington, Delaware. It was, we're hoping to make the Green Beret Project event, like, grow it bigger.
Yeah.
Like, we got Kelsey Keel there and
awesome.
Christine Best and a couple bigger named athletes. And they gave away a pretty good prize purse.
Nice.
But it was all 3-person team, just like Wodapalooza.
Yeah. That's cool.
And yeah, you're military, like, got to support the military cause, right?
Always. Yeah, for sure.
And if you win the prize purse, then tons of fajitas, man.
There you go. Yeah, the next big thing too is, especially, we got to research fajitas around the Boston area, because that's where the wedding will be. So that we're definitely going to be going with that route for the either the reception or the final wedding meal, whatever. We gotta do some homework there.
So Boston, why Boston?
That's where my family's at. Her family's Michigan, my family's Boston. We got plans to go on our honeymoon over to Switzerland after, so it's kind of like getting us getting us a little bit away there first. So yeah,
Do we have a date?
late August.
So an ish date.
No, we got one locked in. I can't be telling the whole internet that. But yeah,
Okay.
we're good to go. We put our deposit down, and we got
Well, Boston's a big city, Mitch. It's not like it's it's gonna be like National Treasure. Everybody's looking for the wedding.
that's a great movie. Oh man. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's I mean it's just both of our families too. I think our guest list is like 11 people. So it'll be really fun,
Oh,
nice and
nice.
intimate. So yeah, we're both looking forward to it. I think we're both more just looking forward to it being over so we could go on the honeymoon after. That's the big part. Just another adventure out there.
Yeah, I told Bethany this last night. I keep telling my daughter, like, I will pay to take you somewhere to get married. Destination small,
There you
because you're
go.
not going to remember it anyway, unless we make
Yeah.
it something like that. I said, I paid off my wedding for 10 years and I don't remember it. Like,
Yeah,
don't be foolish.
both of us are just like, yeah, I can't think of anything that I'd rather do less than have to like worry about entertaining and shaking hands and talking to 200 or so people and not just get to kind of breathe and enjoy the day and then just be with the family. So yeah, it'll definitely be a nice little one then get over to Switzerland.
Yeah, my wife and I wanted less than 100 people, hors d'oeuvres and drinks after the wedding, and it turned into 350 with full dinner.
Oh no, that's a nightmare.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Don't let it happen. All y'all, don't let that happen to your
Advice
kids.
for everybody.
Don't do that to your kids.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, Mitch, this has been awesome as always. I can't wait to see you guys out there in Pasadena. I is she getting your coach's pass again?
Who else is getting? Can't give it to Kiefer. Come on.
Yeah.
She's
Well,
the
he's
fittest
probably
coach
already
there.
got one anyway, right?
He does, but yeah, she's got it. So she'll be back there, loading my plates and telling me not to be a wuss the entire time. So yeah, there was
Does she give you strategy, or is it just
not really. I mean, I've been doing it for so long where like I know what I do on workouts and where I'm at. Like sometimes we'll talk about it a little bit, but yeah, she's mostly just there for like the let's go. And that's really all it takes. You're like, oh shit, I can't put the bar down now. Like I remember it was actually this week in the garage, and I had a pretty nasty workout of intervals, and it was GHDs into thrusters into bar facing burpees, and it was a big set of thrusters. It was like 25, so you had to. It was like the fine line of unbroken every time getting off the GHD, so you can't put the bar down. And I remember I finished the last thruster on the interval, and I dropped it from overhead, and it bounced to the side like the bar because it didn't have that much weight on it. Just bounced and like ricocheted, so I had to go get it and do it, put it down before I could start my bar facing burpees. And I finished the interval, and she just told me, like, "Wow, you were just a huge bitch dropping that last one from the top, huh?" It's like, now you know. It's like, thanks. That's what I needed.
oh
So that's great. It's
well, I
like
would
the
I would
push.
be remiss not to ask you about the 5 workouts that we know.
I like them. They're definitely different. I think there's like I've been refreshing my phone all day to see if the last couple are coming out, but I'm sure I'll know those in due time. But yeah, I'm excited for them. It's definitely the dumbbell Linda will be a challenge for a lot of folks. Linda itself is a hard workout, and then the dumbbells don't make it any easier. I demoed that one a little bit yesterday, so that'll be a great pump. And yeah, I'm excited.
I
It'll be
love
fun.
Linda. Like
Yeah,
as a meathead, like I love Linda.
yeah.
I don't love dumbbell Linda.
You got to be careful with them. It's especially like finishing in each set and making sure the dumbbells. You can't just like finish and dump them It's a lot more taxing. You definitely got to focus up a little bit more. But yeah, I think that'll be a big separator just from the normal barbell bench press. But it's a cool wrinkle. I really like it.
Well, the dumbbells at Wodapalooza were a stopper,
Yeah,
like a separator, and these are heavier.
it'd be good. I'm hoping all my years of bench press and football come back and pay off. But yeah, we'll find out on that one.
Yeah, I love a good bench press.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm actually not bad at dumbbell bench press, but yeah, I would prefer the barbell. But
yeah, just makes it easier.
Yeah. But that's fun. I love the 800-meter snatch thing.
Yeah, that'll be really fun. Nice, very painful too, so that'll be good. Especially
with a
that
6-minute
second
cap.
800. Yeah, it's tight.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
Well, Mitch, thank you so much for jumping on. We'll see you there in Pasadena, and everybody in the chat, thank you for jumping on with us. We'll see everybody next time on the Clydesdale Media Podcast.